live from the Real Guppy Dockside Learning and Multimedia Center. It's the Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brannon, brought to you by AFTCO Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Island Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. And now, here's your host, Community Kevin Brannon. With today's guest, Adriana Britt of the City of Oxnard and Oxnard PAL.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, see, you never know what's gonna happen in the Guppy neighborhood. All right, so Adriana Britt is our guest today, and Barry is gonna introduce her now. We go way back because when we first started doing our Real Anglers Kids Fishing Day, we did it with the police activities. Remember?
Yes,
walked in there.
That was years ago.
Yep, and I met Mike at one of the expos that we were just talking to Kathy about.
Yes.
It was an Oxnard Chamber. Could have been the Latino Business Expo, but I met Mike at a chamber, and I said, hey, I got this kid fishing program. I want to take some kids out. And we did it for free, and we did a couple of boat trips, and you guys made this shirt and said everybody needs a pal.
Yep.
And it was a Real Angler logo. Again, there was no Real Guppies at the time. There was no Guppy logo. But that's when we started doing our Real Anglers Kids Fishing Day. And then the guy came out and made the video. What was his name? Ended up working for Nike.
Probably EJ.
Yeah. So EJ came out and made a video, and then you guys actually gave me an award for helping out, like my first set of all my little plaques. You guys acknowledged me I'm getting a little goosey bumps right here.
At the gala, our
the
annual gala.
Yeah, a little gala, a little Kev out there. I remember having those coming in. So we do work, similar work in the community with kids. And then, so again, we go probably at least 10 years of working, because the PAL was the first one that I approached. And I remember telling you why I wanted to do the program. I don't know if you remember, I started getting a little like emotional in the room. I remember everybody got quiet, Mike and another lady and you, and I had to catch him like. But that was when I was like, I just wanted to give back. It was a kid fishing day before we decided, as part of something, me being my servanthood. And so that's how I met Adriana, and she has some other ventures coming up we're going to talk about. And we did it before a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And it is the Insect Festival, but we don't script anything here. We don't have too many questions. So whatever we talk about, whether it's our past or you talked to us earlier off camera about some of the leadership programming that you have coming up. And we do our leadership, so we'll be cross-pollinating that direction. See, I used the little insect.
Yes.
There. But anyway, go ahead and tell me your title and what you do, and we'll get going and what's going on today. We've got about 35 minutes, so let's go.
So again, my name's Adriana Britt. I am with the City of Oxnard as well as Oxnard PAL, and I am a administrative services analyst. And what that means, I get to go out and build community partnerships, sponsorships, things like that. I also, for Oxnard PAL, run a youth leadership program. So building our future leaders to hopefully take over for all of us as we get tired of working or not.
What about, with that said, do you teach I do when development is like for them to bring their own flavor, to not think like the way, because they're going to be like doing things kind of with their flavor to it versus like instructing them to do it, like this is the way you've always done it and this is the way you need to do it, or do you give them the opportunity to kind of create as leaders? So our program is actually is with the intention of them to create what they want. So we do offer certain guidelines. But like, for example, community service, we want them to choose what community service projects they do. We're not, we don't always want to be the ones to do it. So things like that, when we're talking about financial literacy, kind of finding out what it is that they're looking for or what knowledge they need so that we can. I'm listening. I just got to get it. I got to gram it up. Go ahead.
So that we can make sure we're giving them the information they need as opposed to just kind of throwing information out there. And it's the same thing. Like I said, we focus on like academic achievement. We understand that not everybody wants to go to college. So we talk about that. We focus a lot on like trade schools and other, other careers that just don't involve any any education at all.
So what you did was you peeked in on what we're doing, and then you just went ahead and duplicated it. I ain't mad at you. That's right. But no, the same, everything you're talking about, I think right now is important. And that's why I was saying, if you guys let them create, because I've been in other places where I'm gonna tag the pal, then you'll get it, right? That's you. You're gonna get the tag, all right? Then you can reshare and all that. Let me tag the guppies. But I think that's a component that's super important in development, because you have these ideas what kids should do, and you don't invite kids in to do what they should,
Yes.
And I remember the first time I went to one, it was like a luncheon with the Boys and Girls Club and a bunch of other folk, the city of Oxnard, down at the tower down in Oxnard.
Yeah.
And they were telling about these kids, and there wasn't a kid in the room, and they were talking about these devices, and they couldn't even figure out how to get a code and do it. And I thought, when I start to make MAR program and I did some stuff with the scouts, it was like always adults trying to tell the kids what to do.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so important to really, they use the term empowerment a lot, but if you're going to let them have creativity and ideas, you got to let them implement, because they know what's going on out there, right?
Yes.
And then also that you said, the academic part, like I went back to college to just do film because I'm an artist.
Okay.
So I'm not super scholar academic. I failed a proficiency test in 5th and 7th grade, and the spelling bee, real quick, I got eliminated, and I failed 3rd grade to 2nd grade. So academically, I thought I wasn't going to do much, right? But if you need academics to succeed, but now I have children's books and a entrepreneur. So you're right on track. And I think there's a shift in, I think, educators and leaders we need to, again, remodify that going in, because some of us grew through that stuff with our own limitations. And now us decision makers are able to shift that model, and it's more accepted than at this time. What do you think?
It's funny you mentioned going back to learn video, because I think a lot of kids don't realize, they think like, once I start at Oxnard College, I have to finish. Mm-hmm. And, it might be something as simple as like, I want an office job. Let me go take these keyboarding classes really quick so I can get my typing up and, be able to put that on my resume and things like that. So definitely focusing on things like that.
We teach them to build portfolios around here. Resumes are cool, but I think if you had a portfolio to stack up your accomplishments to go along with your, what does Adam Casillas say? You have your transferable skills.
Yes.
And then your portfolio to say this. So when you go to present that as to a career pathway, like you're talking about, that shows, your levels versus just like, because I think, I don't know, maybe not, when we did resumes, it was like your experience of what you had versus more of, I think a portfolio shows your creativity, what you love to do. Is that, what do you think of that?
What I've done, we've done a resume building exercise where I've sent the kids home, and I'm like, okay, come back with the list. Let me know what your hobbies are.
And now I'm stealing some stuff from you.
I know you are. Chores, things that you like to do. And then from there, in our next meeting, they said, oh, well, I have to wash the dishes, or I have to do this. Okay. You maintain a clean environment,
right.
Like all of this. So I kind of worked with some of them
to articulate it into
and then also show them like, okay, this is your hobby, but it's also a skill, and this is something that you can do at this job or that job or whatever it is. So
how long are we do a 7 6-week courses, but once you come through our program, the leadership thing, then you're still a guppy. You can always come in, but for this particular series, is yours a certain time that you do it? Is it ongoing, or do you try to cohort them in like certain in a series type?
I'm actually in the process of revamping a little bit. So it is a year-long event, and then the kids can keep coming. And the intention is that the younger kids are just kind of going to get a little bit more knowledge, but the older kids, as they retain more of the information, they're able to become kind of like peer mentors.
Oh, exactly.
So same thing. They come back and then they start helping with the younger kids. They start developing.
Kids. They went from being developed to, I was telling you over off camera about, as far as what I talk about, is that the fish trying to jump out? That was weird. Is that I talk about, what God a lot in what I do, right? And we call it like discipleship, mentorship, development. I think they all kind of have the same feeling. Is that something else again?
No, that was my chair.
Oh, okay. But like that is like development, discipleship kind of thing. And I think that's important that you teach them to come back through, you know, and that they get, because I think that makes them feel like ownership and in their servanthood. Something about that when we're giving back too, that's like, I call people, that's like a deposit for your soul. Yes. It doesn't pay monetarily, but it pays on you when they feel like they're being, it really, I think, helps transform them into young adults, you
Yeah.
know, stuff like that. Well, man, props on that right there. And we have to
So-
collaborate on with some of our partnerships and what we do again, especially, and this is, you know, you've heard Adam Casillas and other people, we talk about networking and how long a relationship could go, right? These are ideas and we've transferred different positions. So we have more say so. We're not just, you know, you've elevated up so that you have a bigger voice in the room.
Exactly.
Because as long as you've been putting your time in, right? And then you get a chance to develop yourself what you think is working. And then but our connection, and I'm sure connections you have now, help you out because of your networking and partnership and what you developed over the years, you know?
For sure. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're listening, the reason we say that's for the entrepreneurs and stuff, people that are listening,
Yes.
to know what it comes with, you know, the long haul and the purpose of doing all these other things, you know, that make you successful and sustainable, you know, long term. So let's talk about what you got. Anything else that you want to mention on your notes that you want to jump in there on?
Well, we'll talk a little bit about the insect festival.
That's gonna take a lot of. That's gonna talk about a lot. I just want to make sure, like anything with
Yeah.
the work that you're doing, though.
Not right now. That would probably be for another day.
Okay, yeah, because we like to leave
We'll
a little
come
meat on the bone, so that you got to come back, and we have our guests
Yeah.
come back every so many months to talk about it. You know, a recap or other things that are coming up. So as a filmmaker, I think about everything from a production standpoint. An introduction of character. People see the character again. It's like The Simpsons, right? You have this whole neighborhood, right? You know, the bartender, you know, the chief of police, the mayor, like they have these characters. And that's what we have here in our facility is like reoccurring guests that come in and let people know. Again, like you see when people came through the door, right? It's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
That was fun.
Right before you came in, our editor was here to get some footage to put into to a film. So yeah, you never ding dong, who's here? But yeah, let's talk. So some of you guys that do hear the podcast regularly or know Scotty too as well. We come from a exterminating world with bugs and insects, and it's not to kill everything. It's just more like control, right? Make sure the ants ain't eating up you wake up in the morning, they're eating your cereal type of thing. But I'm a nerd when it comes to like insects and ecosystem and habitat, because a lot of that goes into the fishing industry, especially how we pick baits that we use, match the hatch. So there's a lot of similarity in that. So when you called me about this insect, I mean, we've done it before, but I've already been putting stuff away, and I'll show you some of that stuff before you leave. For this event right here. So, you know, we've been there before letting people touch our shells and hands-on, but this year I asked if I could be more crocodile hunter style. I'm teaching and talking a little headset. I'm like, hey boys and girls, it's Kevin. I'm like, Kevin. Anyway, so go ahead and let's talk about.
So really quick, we started an annual insect festival back in maybe 2018. We have it every first Saturday of June. So this year it'll be June 7th at Plaza Park. And what we started doing is every year we had a different like special guest. So we've had reptiles, we've had tortoises, and this year we're doing crustaceans. So I said, let me give Kev a call really quick. So I gave him a call, let him know our idea, and he was obviously super excited about it. Yes.
Let me go get some critters, bud. You keep talking. I'm gonna go get some crusty critters.
Because I didn't know that in his past life, he did, you know, like he said, he worked with insects. So it just happened to work out really well. He's going to come out and do some stuff, talk about crustaceans, maybe a little bit about insects, how they intertwine with each other. So we're really excited to have him out on a more interactive level this year.
There you go. You mind if I put some crusty critters right there in front of you like that? So check those out.
As long as they're not spiders, I'm okay.
Yeah, we are bringing the spider crab though.
That's okay.
So now the ants are running all over. So if you look in here, see our these are Egyptian excavators right here. They're in there eating all the little particles out of the crabs themselves. And I got these at Wainimi Beach. I was doing my run. And, you know, since they did the dredging there, some of these crabs were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where the sand was piled up in front of the jetty. And then you have the port on the other side, you know, if you're going to the lighthouse. So they were there. Looked like that migration of the red crabs. I forget what country that's in when they're all, you know, all these thousands of crabs. So these are already dried out. And I brought them in here. And now the ants are just going through to pluck out all the little proteins that are inside of there. So they kind of work together. Well, I guess these guys are done. But again, we gave them a second life. So we're going to talk about some of those when we get out there. And then these are some things when we talk about plankton, I'm going to talk to the kids about, right? These are freshwater and freshwater, like krill. These are the saltwater version. These are the freshwater version, the little flies. And again, how these mimic little bugs and how they eat these as well. And even how they go through a caterpillar state with the larva. We use like little grubs and stuff that you'll see. And And like in your front yard, for instance, if you go outside and you notice like, oh, there's something's been digging up my dirt, which it could be raccoons digging up larvae to eat as a protein source, kind of like the Lion King version I was telling you when they're looking under stuff. What is it, the Hakuna Matata song, and they're eating all the grubs and stuff. So I'm going to bring some of those along with some of our actual insects. And then some of the part about that cockroaches, that lobster are the cockroaches of the ocean, which isn't really true, because we know, me and Scotty, when cockroaches lay their eggs, and the way that their life cycle is that when they first hatch out of the egg, they eat the poo that the parents leave behind, where lobsters don't do that. They don't go around eating that kind of stuff. And where they sit at and they live at, they don't live in these, the way the habitat is set up, they're different. But sometimes that's people think like, you eat those things off the seafloor, those scavengers. Well, technically a shark's a scavenger. If you're going to run up on a well is, drifting in the current that's dead, and the well is eating off of this decaying animal, it's scavenging, right? But they don't see it like that. It's this majestic creature that's, a great white shark, and that's just nature. So I'm going to bring the nature aspect to it, some myths, and then also how we utilize what's in our backyard when kids go out. And then I'm going to tie in some of which are kind of like sea creatures that are crustaceans and versus land crustaceans, and the similarities and stuff like that. So I'm excited for this one.
We are excited also. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And we have hands-on. So we'll be passing these around and stuff for the kids to check out. We think they get a chance to smell them. I mean, even like sea snails, right? That's a crustacean, right? So we have some sea snails that we'll bring, and then we have hermit crabs. So how the hermit crab takes over a sea snail. Like they go from a little apartment, right? And you go into this bigger one. So yeah, I'm gonna bring a bunch of stuff out there. I have big old seashells that they can listen to, and then next to it we'll put the
the sea snail is the same as the hermit crab?
No, it's just the hermit crab takes over the empty shell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's like that brother that don't leave, like, hey man, you've kind of been around here a while, man. You're starting to smell up the couch. You think you need to move on. But as they grow, so hold on a sec. Go ahead and talk to them more. June 1st, what time?
Yes, so June 7th, the event will be from 10 to 4 at Plaza Park. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff there. We'll have like a costume contest for kids. Let me tell you, some of these parents go all out. Their kids come in handmade insect-inspired costumes, so they're pretty cool.
So that's another crab. That's a hermit crab.
If y'all are trying to come out and join the costume contest, make sure you come out prepared. I
didn't even ask her. I just start putting little creatures in her hand.
I have ants all over me now.
Hey, it's an insect fest. Look at what we got.
As long as it's not a spider, I'm okay.
There's one right there dangling. It kind of dried up. The daddy longleg is one of the most, or cellar spider, one of the most venomous spiders, but their teeth are so small that they can't penetrate us.
Yes.
But if you're one of these little ants up there,
but in my head, it'll be my luck that one will penetrate my yes.
Yeah. People like you help keep us in business as exterminators, right? Yeah, thank God for media, right? Like,
kill them all.
Oh my God, Kev, I seen a spider and it's gonna kill. Like, ma'am, I'll be right there.
Kill them all.
Then I get to be heroic, Kev. Step back, ma'am. I'm here to annihilate that little bitty cellar spider. Move out of the way.
Yep, take them all the spiders, all of them.
I'll tell you that when I go into people's when I was exterminator and I come across really cool exotic spiders, I would just throw them in the neighbor's yard. I wouldn't kill them. So like the oval reapers, the big ones that make the big old nests, those are the ones that's when the phone rings. You come outside to go to work and you walk through this web, then you're like, oh my God, it's like the size of a stop sign. Oh man, and it's about July. When you start getting the spider calls, right, Scotty? And they freak people out, but they're very like, she got the goosebumps too. She's like, don't talk spiders. But I would like get them out of the web, what's the Webster, and I would just flick them in the neighbor's yard. Like certain ones, I've seen those big bright green ones and stuff, some big cool bugs. But if you're black widows and stuff, especially for kids, like again, some of it about education, we talk about education. Part of us being exterminators is educating our customer too, right? Okay. So if you get bit by a black widow, it's not going to, and every brown spider that you see is not a brown recluse. Those are like in certain areas and how you get bit. They don't go around, they're not vampires. They don't go around intentionally just biting people for the sake of biting them. It's usually a defense mechanism. You put your shoe in a boot that had a spider. And the reason that you're going to get real sick is, again, if you have a compromised immune system. So if you're a little kid and it's fighting against it because you haven't have a real high immune system, or you're elderly and you're already weak, but adult, you go get it, it's going to take care of it.
Got it.
But we do inspection around like people's kid toys and making sure that they don't have them. And then like for bees and stuff, normally only take annihilate them if it's doing like structural damage or it's a hazard, right? So if they're in your front door and you need to get in, then or they start to nest in your wall before you have the wall come down because of all the honey in there or something like that, then we treat them. But a part of it is just educating the customer on from their environment. That's when you get into the nerdy stuff. Well, man, you live in Ojai up against the mountain, you're going to see spiders. Well, I lived in the collection. That's different. It's not 100 degrees on the side of Grand Road up in or just things like that. So it gave me a chance to do some teaching and educating, communicating some of the things that we talk about. So I dug it. So anyway, this is the hermit crab, as you can see. Oh, look at that.
They got put in my hand.
Yep. So they'll climb in there and take over. Now it's a smaller one, right? So let's say he was living in this one right here. And he said, all right, I'm out of here. I need a bigger crib. I've outgrown that one. Then they'll live in this one right here.
Oh.
So they take over the empty sea snails. So again, they're a critter that they jump from house to house. But again, these are still little insects underwater.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. And I'll bring like some sand dollars and some starfish. Those are kind of like, think about like caterpillars underwater. They go along and eat the vegetation, right? So if you go out in the insect world, you have what's called a leaf hopper. People are freaking out because there's these holes in there. There's holes inside their plant, right? Like, this is my favorite plant. Something's eating up, and you can't treat anything that they're going to eat, right? So if you got something eating up your vegetables, then you got to figure that out because we can't treat your tomatoes. Yeah. But and the word is treat, people. We don't spray. We treat. We do a treatment. If your guy's telling you he's going to spray for something, get a new guy. Right? We apply pesticide to keep them under control around your house. So, but again, the sea snails and stuff that you see, like this is a snail, and where we got these from, these are from Carpinteria School where I teach at. And again, when I'm looking, sometimes you'll see them still alive, so we leave them. Anything that we take and harvest to put in here has already been emptied out. And then behind us, what I was saying, we have the commercial dock, and you'll see they'll drop when they bring the nets in, they'll stack them up, and then some of the things, the bycatch, just die on the side of the dock, so we'll bring them in. But we leave them outside to those ones get a little funky. But I'll bring some of those too. But again, these are sea, so these are just like all these right here are part of kind of the underwater insect world.
Pretty cool.
Except for the ants. But see, the ants, they normally don't get seafood, so they're loving it. They can't hold their breath that long or swim that good.
They're indulging.
Right. They don't get it. Like, what is this sweet meat right here? Where's the butter and the hot sauce? We leave the Tabasco off for them too.
I feel the same way.
She's like, meat.
No, I'm not killing them. I'm moving them.
So anyway, we'll be bringing these, as you can see, some of our artifacts and these shells, what we bring. And again, we'll talk about. So, and then in the water, plankton that to really start the ecosystem. There's freshwater and saltwater as well. So it could be little larvae, little beetles. If you see fly fishermen, that's what these are for right here. So they're using little flies, and when we say match the hatch, whatever kind of flies that are living in that type of an ecosystem, the person that hand makes these will try to make the fly look like the fly that are there.
Oh, that's an actual fly in there. Okay.
Yeah. So it might look like a little nymph, like when they're coming out of a certain start. So again, with insects, some of them have different type of a life cycle.
Yes.
So like anything that flies has to go through a metamorphosis state. So maggots, right?
Yes.
They're little slugs, little larvae, but so are butterflies, right? But the way people look at different flying insects, you could love a butterfly. Oh, don't harm that butterfly. A moth, kill them. So there's certain ways that, again, how our cultural approve of a certain insect, but maybe because of its beauty or what it looks like, but they go through the same type of lifestyle. And as an exterminator, when you go to take care of people's problems, do the product I'm giving a lecture is like how we take care of them too, kind of like fishing, like whatever's going to work the best to really eradicate a situation. But yeah, these are our little, so that's why I'm so excited, because I've been hoarding these things for this opportunity to do it. And you know where I learned this? Sorry, I've been taking up too much time talking. I usually let the guests talk, but when we were in Florida at Gatorland, they were bringing out these little tarantulas, and the people up there were like, oh my God, it's amazing. So when we would get our little crabs at the beach, I'm like, dude, I do the same thing. So kind of turn on a switch to Kev, you're doing the same kind of things that they're doing. So
just so everybody knows, I had to I think end our initial phone call short when I called Kevin, because he was like, let me just give a whole class right now over the phone on everything that I know. So that was pretty cool.
That's me.
It was cool to see that he was, what was the word you used? Enthusiastic about the event. But yeah, like he said, so again, we'll be out there June 7th from 10 to 4, Plaza Park. We're going to have a costume contest. We actually partnered up with Nat Geo this year, last year also, and we will have a cricket theater. And so they sent us over a short film on the relationship between insects and crustaceans called A Real Bug Life.
Really?
yeah, that we'll be showing. It'll pretty much play in a loop. So you can kind of sit down. We have like a shaded tent with a projector. Should be pretty fun. We'll end the day with the band. They renamed
The
themselves for
Beatles?
the day. No, we have a new one
The
this year. So
Beatles.
the Black Widow Groove,
Okay.
aka Radio Rebels. So they'll be out there.
Are they females?
They're not. They're
Okay.
males. At least one of them is a male, the one that I've been communicating with.
Because you know the Black Widow, the female, the one,
Yes.
the big one is the female.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so they figured they'd do a little play on words.
That's cool.
For the event. But we'll have that out there. We're going to have tons of like education booths out there, vendors, so you can actually come out and buy insects, tiny rebels. I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes. Tiny like spiders and reptiles. We will also have food vendors out there with a few of them selling like cricket tacos.
That was going to be my question.
Yes.
Is there going to be any edibles? Not those kind of edibles like.
No, there will be some edible insect inspired plates for sale out there.
Those scorpion ones are like the scorpions inside of the like sucker is like one of the most.
Our youth program that I was talking about earlier will be out there selling insect lollipops for a fundraiser.
I'm about to get a handful of those and bring them back here and see what students want to indulge in it. That's one thing all right, go ahead.
No, another thing that we've done every year, and we've done an insect tasting panel. So maybe Kevin will be one of our tasters this year. We'll see.
You got hot sauce?
It should be fun. We do, and our.
I think I might. All right,
you got this.
Yeah.
You got this. So
I
if
know
anybody
punk.
wants
Remember
to
we talking
come
about
out,
the punk
yes.
filter? Yeah, you just called me out on here to see that. They try to see what you did there. You went in on my insecurities and was like, we'll just put them on the spot. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to come out and watch Kevin eat some insects in person, again, come out.
I've eaten worms when we're fishing for the kids. I've eaten sand crabs for them. I've eaten ants have a spicy taste, but I have eaten worms like to tell the kids like, you got to think like a fish. You got to eat like the SpongeBob and. I like the way I used to eat dirt when I was a kid anyway, so they're not too bad, the worm part.
No, I'm okay.
Sand crabs, they kind of taste like at first they taste like sunflower seeds, and then they taste disgusting after that. And then
salty, then nasty.
But the ants tasted hot.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, they got a little spice to them.
I've heard that. I think we've had like little scorpions in the past. So yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to have this year, but we'll have some stuff for Kevin to eat.
Is it protein-packed? A little protein-packed little. I'm going to get my little bowl right here and just a little tear it up. Did you say cricket tacos?
Yes.
You know who does weird stuff like that? And I don't mean to say it that way, because this is the way when I tell kids, like, you could eat anything.
Yes.
It's just for me, just different, right? But my brother, man, that dude, he loves to find new exotic stuff. And the reason I shouldn't say it that way weird is because culturally, and I tell that when we're teaching the fishing thing, it's sometimes just the side of it could, you're like, you'll eat a Big Mac that you don't know what's in it. You know what's in a cricket, right?
Yes.
So consumption wise, you can eat it without harming you. And a lot of people do that, where our standards of what we eat, again, that goes back to the lobster thing, right? Like, you guys eat those nasty things that are down there crawling around. Like, yeah, they're great. So I got to be open-minded to, wait a minute. Let me see that. Check this out, Scotty. Those look like little chiles right there, though. So I guess if you describe it right, the little chiles you buy?
Yeah.
I try it.
They say intelligent people try new things.
Every year I say I'm going to try it, and the lines are long.
Nah, homie. If you're challenging me,
I'll try a taco.
I'm going to go.
A taco.
I'll do it if you do it.
But I'm not doing the panel. Not the panel. I will do a taco.
The panel.
But Kevin
is this like Fear Factor? And we got some big old giant thing, and be like, you don't even know what they are. Those kind of look like crawdads, though. So I guess again, if you tell yourself it's a crawdad, yeah.
You should have shared the taco.
Looks all right, but I still think I think we put it in Kung Pao chicken, right? It looks like the little chilies that are in the Kung Pao chicken.
So yeah, we'll have
show us the taco. We'll show the view too.
Trying to think of what else will be out there. Oh, we're gonna have an interactive butterfly tent, so our guests can kind of walk through We'll have like a kids zone. Everything there is free, with the exception of like the food, craft vendors, things like that. But all the
Check that
there
out.
you
So
go.
that's a taco right there. Cricket tacos. But
Kevin and I are gonna.
Is there carne
try
asada
one.
and then
Yes.
crickets on top?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they put the crickets in the little jar.
So it's
and they
like
use
a
the
chaser.
on top.
Are we gonna try those?
Sure.
All right.
I've been wanting to try
All
one.
right.
I never get to it. I'm always running around like back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
Event planning is something I know what that's like. Yeah, when you got to make sure everything is tapped down. But I've been there before. Like I said, we had it set up. Becky, we had some interns there helping out, and it was fun. I think that's where I learned, like, again, how to, when we opened up our little tackle, so we take these little tackle boxes that we get donated and we'll stick them in little compartments, right? Everything from different types of shells and fish. Yeah, see, they do that. Look, it's got metal on it, so they don't show you exactly what it is. If you're listening online, you got to go watch this video to see some of these videos. But look, see, that's when they're going to trick you. Like, oh, are you ready? And you lift it up and it's like, so like, nah, I ain't ready for all that. And I don't see no hot sauce on the table either. All I see is water. I'm bringing my own.
Bring hot sauce, douse it on everything.
All right.
Yeah.
And I tried, I think, the worm in the tequila bottle. I don't recommend that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not good. Don't do it, people. Listen to me. Listen to the exterminator. Do not. There's evil in that worm.
I wouldn't.
So Scotty over here does a Friday shot show, right?
Yes.
Right. So you got to try that one, okay?
We've eaten the worm many times.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's not great.
There's a
You
demon
just-
in that worm.
You got to finish the bottle, right?
No, you put your lip up and you hold it, and the worm will come down, and then you take a drink. I was greedy because I was just my style, right? Like, oh, we get to the end, so I just held my lip up to the bottle, and the worm, gravity brought it to the thing, and then
You sound like a professional
out of controller.
worm shot drinker.
I always had to try to be extra.
Got
caught
techniques
up with
over
me.
here and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, again, what I was saying is that's where what we learned when we started putting our stuff on displays, how to do it, and then going to Florida and seeing how they did the live animals, kind of got us to where we're at today. That's why I'm really excited to kind of bring out the community Kev thing and then show people this and let them touch them. I don't. When you come to our booth that we're gonna have there, are you gonna have me in a booth or a table next to this? Do I get the stage with the headset like I requested?
You're gonna get a booth next to the stage.
Wonderful.
So you can kind of go back and forth.
Cool. All right. That sounds good to me. What else you got? Anything else you want to chop it up about the 30-minute mark?
No, just I guess thank our sponsors too. So ZoomEd has been a huge supporter since day one. They've and then we have
What's it called? ZoomEd?
ZoomEd. So they're actually like a reptile wholesale.
Zoom or Zoo?
ZoomEd.
Zoo. All right. I was writing down Zoom I thought it was like Zoom, like a Zoom call.
ZoomEd. And then we have Rincon Vitova, Renewal by Anderson. Vallarta will be out there. T-Mobile, Raising Cane's. So that's who we have right now. We still have hopefully some more sponsors in the works. And we're still working on getting some ed booths out. I know like Santa Barbara Zoo will be out there. Kevin will be out there. We'll have Critter Squad, the Tortoise Rescue Club will be out there. They were our special guests last year, and they'll be back again this year, just kind of with the booth. They enjoyed the event, so they wanted to come back out. But yeah, so
it is pretty popping, and it's down there at Plaza Park.
Yes,
It's basically like the big park right in the middle of downtown Oxnard. So if you're listening from out of the Oxnard Ventura area, come down the street. We used to have the used to have the Salsa Festival there, right?
Yes, and they still do. So
Yeah.
it's right next
And the
to
Tamale Festival?
It's like the Centennial Plaza, I
Yeah.
believe.
And there's
Yeah.
some historic Oxnard stuff down about a block too. So if you want to check that out, the historic side, right? Heritage, like Heritage Square,
Heritage Square
is about a block away. So you can make a day out of it if you're coming in to visit, eat some tacos with us, and venture around that area. And then yeah, man, come hang out and check out the Nard and some cool crusty creatures and a bunch of other insects. And like I said, I've been there before, so I know the layout. This isn't our first time, so I'm trying to throw some extra stuff on top of the event, especially if it's like family fun engagement,
Yes.
to come out and check it out.
It's really fun.
Who's there? There's somebody that makes some bomb fish tacos that are across the way. Who's your fish taco vendor? Do you remember?
No.
Man, they were good. So yeah, you can have a fish taco and a cricket taco.
There you go.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to do it right here. We'll have you back in a couple months, but definitely want to get you some of our leaderships. I'm really excited about that. And again, thank you for the years of partnership and support and both sides. And, started out Rural Anglers Kids Fishing Days with you guys. So you've kind of seen it go full circle, and it's kind of good to see our reoccurring, again, we have some networking partners, and we have people more that are like family from the program, and you're definitely one of them. So anytime you guys need our help,
Cool.
you know,
Thank you.
reach
You
out.
don't have to tell me twice.
That's right. All right, Scotty, anything you got to add?
No, we're good.
Oh, real quick. So this Saturday, we are doing our tackle sale where the funds are going to go to taking the kids out to ICAST. We're trying to raise $2,500, and that's going to cover our Airbnb so we can stay at Airbnb, cook our own groceries, a little bit more comfortable when you're staying out there for 5 days than just a motel. And that's this Saturday from 10 to 2. Uncle Dave will be doing a rod building class here. Next week, we have Sherry Asbelung, and she's going to be talking about that's when she was working for NASA. She'll be our presenter here talking about her time dealing with space exploration. And then at the end of the month, me and Scotty decided that our 4th podcast will always be a recap. So it'll be me and him on the last Wednesday of, did I say Sunday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay, because I know we have the kid fishing day. But yeah, so we're going to be, me and Scotty will be just holding it down one day a month on the podcast, kind of giving you recaps of what we're doing. And that's it. And we have some great guests next week. We have Carl Soto. He is another film guy. He put the signs up outside the building for us. He created them. He does a lot of props for movies. Went to Oxnard College as well. He was coming out when I was going in, and that's how we met. We hosted the community stage together at the Banana Festival. And we're going to be talking about our PBS specials are going to be coming up with our puppets and our coastal critters coming. So
Pretty cool.
check that out. All right. CommunityKevin.com, Rogue Guppy Outdoors. Barry, let's go.
To learn more about Real Guppy Outdoors, please visit www.communitykevin.com. Brought to you by AftCo Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Island Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.